Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Week 4 preview of the Sickos Committee podcast. As always, I'm Jordan. I'm VP of Graphic Design and apparently weird statistics as well this today. With me tonight is Commissioner Escalante and special Pittsburgh correspondent, Pitt Girl. Pitt Girl, how you doing?
All right, how are you lovely folks tonight?
Hanging on for dear life.
Just relaxing, enjoying the end of this day, this maddening day, but not related to college football though.
This week we have dubbed it Irk Week because it's not quite rivalry week, but it's for playing teams that just kind of irk you. Teams that just sort of like get under your skin, are weird, are those rivalries that either you dread because they're always gross or because they're just sort of the thorn in your side. Also, a really weird mix of games because some teams are like getting into the conference schedule, like Pac-12 is taking off into conference schedule, but then we have things like Toledo traveling to San Diego. So, okay, that's happening too. And it's not like other MAC teams aren't playing MAC games. Like, they're playing MAC games. It's just this weird combination. We're not quite in conference schedule yet.
No, it's a weird amalgamation of games. So some have jumped into conference play, as you stated, and then some are just playing these weird, like Mountain West versus MAC matchups, which
We need more of those.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. Just looking at the schedule, it's a lot of fun, but it's weird. And then there's like the rivalry games that were like rescheduled that used to be at the end of the year, and then now they're at the beginning of the year. So I feel like with the conference realignment and stuff, these standard rivalries that you used to have around Thanksgiving are going to change a little bit. And this is kind of a few of those that have changed. Some are normally in the beginning of the year because they're out of conference, but ones that are actually in conference being played this early, it's just kind of strange. Just not traditional.
There's always a couple that I feel like are always very early. Like Elastico is always early.
Yes.
Colorado State tends to be early too, if I remember correctly. It's usually
right.
week 1 or 2. But then there's like this set that's like week 3, 4, 5, where, yeah, okay, every Big Ten game's a rivalry. Okay, every SEC game's a rivalry. But I'm talking about some other ones. So this is going to be an interesting tasting menu of a bunch of games we find interesting, but also those irksome games. Games that just sort of really, it's irk week. Those 2 hard K sounds at the end are great.
Mild annoyance all the way around, just in terms of scheduling and in terms of individual games. That's where we're at
Yes.
right now. Live your best life.
We're going to open with one that we are extremely concerned about. Watching the battle for the wooden boot, as it is known amongst aficionados.
It's really called the Battle on the Bayou.
It's called the Battle, yeah.
The Battle of the Bayou. The Battle of the Bayou, and it's the Ragin Cajuns versus ULM, and it's been going on for a long time before they both were like originating members of the Sun Belt in the FBS. So they've played a ton, and there allegedly was a trophy for this. It's called the Wooden Boot, and we tried to scour the internet to find a picture of this wooden boot that they supposedly play for. And so I spoke with like a northeastern Louisiana news star, somebody used to work for the news star in Monroe, and he had some clues on where this wooden boot was. There was actually a picture from the 2002 very grainy old newspaper clipping of somebody's allegedly holding the boot, but it's not like a clear picture, so you can't really see it.
I don't remember 2002 looking that grainy. I swear to God, I was there.
I was at that game. I'll just say that I was
it
at
that grainy?
Game.
Was that game very grainy in your memory?
It
may have actually been. No. She may have been. Yeah, hold on.
Maybe no. Thinking about it, I don't.
2002 might have just looked like that.
Did it?
You never know.
I guess every time I go back and watch something from TV from that time period, it's that like pre-HD moment where I'm like, wow, we used to watch TV like this, or watching sports from 2002.
Yeah,
and going like, I can't see anything.
And this was supposedly good at the time,
right?
So I spoke with, I basically in the Twitter mentions in this situation, supposedly a former ULM coach has the wooden boot with him in his house outside of Farmerville, Louisiana, in Lake Darborne. I think I may have said that right or wrong. I apologize. Whatever. I said it correct. All right. In this situation, I don't know what former ULM coach has it. There's like 3 around the time.
Okay.
So it could have been Charlie Weathersby. I believe there was Todd Berry involved. And then there was the one from the 2002. I'm trying to remember his name. from that game because we could actually have confirmation of it. And that was the only game they won that whole year.
Wait, the only game they won was Battle of the Bayou?
Yeah, that was it. 2002.
That's impressive. Okay,
That
you're
was.
gonna win,
It was.
if you're
I
gonna win one
went to
game,
school
win a
there.
rivalry game. Yeah.
I went to school there, so that was definitely not a great ULM team. It was Bobby Kiesler was the coach there,
Sure.
and I'm sorry, they were 3-9. I sold them short. They were
3. That's
but the next year they were 1-11, and they beat Louisiana Lafayette or
that's
the
good.
Ragin Cajuns at the time. So I got the 2 years confused. So I don't know if this trophy still exists. Supposedly, I'm just imagining this in like somebody's hunting cabin, and it's on like a mantle somewhere, and we'll probably never see it again.
It's in the place where the missing trophies go. So like
That's
it's
right.
hanging out in the ether somewhere with the $5 bits of broken chair trophy and the civil conflict trophy.
That's it.
The
They're
original
all
one. Yeah,
together.
the original one.
The original.
Yeah, in the room full of lost things, together commiserating about how no one loves them anymore.
Was 1-11 the worst season you sat through?
I think the one in 2001 was worse for me personally. But they only had one win, and they beat Nichols barely.
Oh.
Ouch.
Barely. I actually went to the game that they played Tennessee at Tennessee, first time in Neyland Stadium. Tennessee beat them 70-3.
Ooh.
I can never hear Rocky Top ever again. If I hear it, I have to like turn the TV on mute. It was too much. It like rained halfway through the game, so they're down like 49-0 at halftime, and they kicked the sad field goal to not get shut out on the first drive of the second half. Which at least it wasn't the fourth quarter, but it was 49-3, and they make the field goal, and then it rained off and on throughout the game. It was just not ULM intercepted them the first possession. I was like, all right, and then it just went all downhill from there. There was a few block punts.
You know what? That sounds suspiciously like that Texas game we went to. ULM intercepts on the first drive.
Yep.
And then it just rapidly devolves.
I mean, ULM intercepted Heisman winner Bryce Young twice last week. There you go, ULM.
That's right. That's right.
Got to do it.
So people were saying there are no bayous in Monroe. Is that true?
There's one that goes directly through campus.
Okay, people are lying. Got liars out there.
It's a thing the Ragin Cajuns do. The Ragin Cajun fans do. They're like, there's no bayous in Monroe. There's one directly through the campus. So I mean, the stadium is like basically you're less than like 0.2 miles away, and that's where the ULM water ski team does. And then there's a video of Terry Bowden fly fishing in a kayak on the bayou. Yes. So that the bayou is real. I promise you. And there's a lot of like wetland park around, and of course Duck Dynasty. A lot of duck hunting in the area, so there's a lot of wetlands and marsh areas. So yes, there's bayous there. So sorry, Ragin Cajun fans.
And also, if you guys are wondering, we have very strict style guides here at the Sickos Committee, and the commissioner requires us to refer to them as the Ragin Cajuns with no name of the school by punishment of having our things deleted and edited to hell. Because I'm just saying that we understand that school has other names, but we refer to them only as the Ragin Cajuns.
We try, but again, it's just a simple name. That's their nickname. I'll call them the Ragin Cajuns, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, personally, I'd prefer if we could, the former directionals were northeastern Louisiana and then southwestern Louisiana. I wish we could just call it North and South Louisiana. I mean, instead of 2 directions, it's only 1. And then ULM can become NLU, and the Ragin Cajuns can go back to USL. But, I don't know if they want to do that. The Cajuns prefer the one singular name. So
ULM was northeastern
Louisiana University,
yes. The Ragin Cajuns, I'll bleep that.
Yes.
The Ragin Cajuns were... So Lafayette was what?
Southwestern Louisiana.
Southwestern. And so there's still a southeastern and there's still a northwestern.
That's right.
Those are still FCS teams. Okay, cool. Yep. I think Oklahoma has the same. I think Oklahoma has like the 4 directional, like southeast, northeast. I think Oklahoma has those too.
It's interesting because all of the directionals that you guys are talking about became not directionals, and the Pennsylvania state system of higher ed schools are in the process of becoming directionals.
Right.
Because
it's weird.
Campuses are getting merged together. So Bloomsburg, Mansfield, and Lock Haven are becoming Penn North, and then some of the other ones are out west. So Edinburgh and Cal U and one of the other ones that I'm forgetting, sorry, Apache folks, are becoming Penn West, which sounds so much like an Amtrak line and not a university.
And Penn North sounds like something on a Monopoly table.
Yeah.
Like a Monopoly board, yeah.
Penn North Railroad.
Exactly right.
And Penn West Railroad. That's right.
But obviously, the Battle of the Bayou is really over water skiing supremacy.
That's right. It's a big water skiing rivalry. So ULM has 29 water skiing national titles out of the 42 years that they've had that.
Bama wishes they could be that.
Bama wishes they could do that. That's right. Now, the Ragin' Cajuns are up and coming in their program. They have 8. So there's 42 years, and 2 teams basically have won over 35 titles. And that the real Battle of the Bayou takes place on the bayou in the water skiing, apparently. That's one thing. And I just wanted to mention something that's completely not necessarily associated with the water skiing thing, but I just wanted to say that we were the loudest table. So that's an inside joke to some folks that will understand it if they hear that we were the loudest table. Definitely at a karaoke event. We're still upset about that.
Another irksome game coming up is the Houston Hate Week, the battle for the Bayou Bucket. Rice looks feisty.
I mean, it's just battles of bayous all week. I'm loving it.
Well, let's be honest here. Houston has its bayous, but and Houston, I love you, but Houston's just an armpit of a city because of the humidity, and it's just gross. I've spent enough time down there the last couple of weeks that I've forgotten how humid that city is.
I have spent exactly 2 days in Houston, and it was like late September 2019. I walked into and out of a Target and my glasses fogged up. And I've never had that happen. And I live in central Pennsylvania, which also gets incredibly humid and gross in the summer, but not like that. Not like that.
It is a totally different awful thing.
It's like, especially if like there's a thunderstorm that comes by for like 30 minutes.
That's the worst part.
And then you step outside after that thunderstorm, just steam rising everywhere. It's nuts. And yeah, you're a little damp there. So the Bayou Bucket, I mean, like, is there something in the bucket or is it just a bucket?
I assume it's empty, but I assume Dana's going to use it for something if he wins it.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be like 6 Coronas and some ice that's half melted.
He's gonna go to Hooters and then just use that bucket, and they'll just put beer in that bucket, and he'll just kick back and drink the beer out of it. Or if he really wants to get feisty, get like a giant Red Bull and vodka and mix it in there and scoop it up like that. Maybe he can do that. But no, Rice looks great. I mean, they beat the Ragin' Cajuns last week. That was kind of unexpected. It probably shouldn't have been as close because Rice turned the ball over a bunch. Maybe they got a shot to win the Bayou Bucket. And shout out to your girlfriend, Dirty Rice.
Girlfriend, Dirty Rice from Houston. Oh, yeah.
That's right. He made an offhand joke that it sounded like one of his ex-girlfriends in one pod. I'm going to keep bringing that back up every time we talk about Rice.
My girl, Dirty Rice.
Every podcast is somebody's first.
That's right. I gotta repeat that.
It is at Houston Stadium, so it's not at like the cavernous, falling apart Rice Stadium, which is gonna hurt the Rice crowd. Rice, the thing about Rice's stadium, I think it's still true, is that if you took the tarps off and used the full, I think the upper deck is actually condemned at this point too, but you could actually fit every Rice alum living and dead in that stadium. Like Rice is a tiny school. Like undergrad, it's like 3,000 people, maybe 4. Oh, yeah. It's tiny. It's not like Tulsa small. Like Tulsa's the smallest in FBS for sure, but it's small. And they built that Rice Stadium. It wasn't a public works project, but it was built in like the 50s, and it was built like they hosted a Super Bowl there. Like it's a big ass stadium.
I think they hosted multiple Super Bowls there. Honestly, I
think it was just one.
Just one. Okay.
I think it was just one.
I got that confused with Tulane Stadium then. So
it may have been. But they hosted a Super Bowl there. Like it's a giant stadium for what it is. I think the top deck is condemned at this point. Like it is way too big for what Rice needs. Eventually they will bring it down, but I think it's a landmark, which is also the problem. So
Rice's stadium is the new Legion Field. You heard it here first.
There we go. I would not be surprised if there were bats and possums and probably undergrads living there at this point. and maybe some owls. If we travel up I-45, we get to the other hate week in Texas, the Battle of the Cast Iron Skillet. TCU and SMU. I didn't realize it, but I am wearing my TCU home field shirt today. Oh. Again, not a sponsor, just own way too many of their shirts.
Same.
Friend of the pod, home field apparel.
Exactly.
Friend of the pod.
If we keep shit talking Indiana, they're not going to be a friend of the pod much longer, just so we're clear. This game is extra spicy because of what happened last year. TCU let go of Gary Patterson, who they'd already built the statue for, or at least were on their way to. Gary Patterson had his, his purple swimming, like frog-shaped swimming pool in his backyard. And all of a sudden, he's no longer the coach there. He's wearing orange. And now Sonny Dykes drove the 30 miles across the Metroplex and is now head coach at TCU from SMU.
Is this game being played at SMU?
No, I think this year's at TCU, but let me double check.
Okay.
I think last year's was it.
I know there was like a big fracas at the end, and Gary Patterson said that somebody hit one of their coaches, and then it found out it wasn't true, but Gary Patterson didn't back down from it, and it was just a weird scenario towards the end there at TCU.
I lied to you. This one is at SMU. It's
Okay,
it's at Gerald Ford, not that one stadium.
That's my favorite fact about SMU. Like, their stadium is named for Gerald Ford, and you would think it's the president, but it's not. It's just some billionaire with the same name, Gerald Ford, and he's the reason for the stadium.
Extra funny and extra confusing because Gerald Ford, the president, played football for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So it throws people off every time they see it. So, somebody watches the game, they're like, Gerald Ford, is it that Gerald Ford? No, I still do that, the Gerald Ford double take, which is weird. But
do you guys know why it's the cast iron skillet game?
I do not, and I would love to learn.
I do, but please inform the representative from Pitt.
So basically, the way the story goes that some SMU fan at a tailgate outside the stadium was cooking frog's legs in a cast iron skillet, as one does. And the TCU fans thought that was so uncalled for and uncouth that they bet the skillet, and that became the trophy.
I love it. 10 out of 10.
Right. Like again, we're back at the best trophy is shit nailed to a board.
Yeah.
It's a cast iron skillet with like a plaque on it. That's great. It's not the Heroes Trophy. It's not the Heartland Trophy. Whatever. Like, those trophies are just generic weird things. This is a thing.
Love it. It's a little bit extra spicier since Dykes went to the other side. Also, there's some recruiting things where one side was trying to get one recruit and then he went to the other team. So that should be fun. It's always a pretty wild game.
I've been to this one. I've been to this one a couple times.
Yeah.
Since I lived in Dallas, and it's a lot of fun to go to. The other thing is we're back to Swag SMU.
Yeah, I am so happy to see Swag SMU back because, like, as an ACC fan, I cannot and will not ever get behind like the U, but Swag SMU doesn't affect me. So, like, pony up, my friends. Mm-hmm. Full swag, they're back.
Yep. That early season video of them driving the gold Trans Am across one of the bridges in Dallas just made me so happy. And like, so I drive a ways from where I work, and so many SMU is Dallas's team. Like, they're really going in on that. I love their new like Dallas Script Dallas stuff that they have on their uniforms. That red, white, and blue looks great. Also, speaking of like stadiums that are way too big for teams, SMU's used to, like, back in the day, played at the Cotton Bowl, which is this giant like cavernous stadium. That was their stadium. And after the death penalty, after whatever, they moved on campus finally. And this campus, this one's actually right on campus. It's about like 3-4 miles from the Cotton Bowl, but it's way more intimate. It's a new stadium. It's got that nice grass lawn, whatever. Because the Cotton Bowl is just like this giant concrete monster of old.
The SMU stadium was the one that had the giant turf bubble in that flooding, right?
It did. That one flooded. And then all the TCU guys were like, our drainage is great, blah, blah, blah. That was again, maximum pettiness.
They're talking trash about drainage. You gotta love this game.
Again, irksome. That
right.
Thorn in your side. Next one we have is the West Virginia Tech game. That is on Thursday?
It is on Thursday.
You know, we miss our weeknight action, but I guess I'll take this on Thursday. This is two fan bases that are incredibly uneasy coming into this game. West Virginia fans are about ready to launch Neil Brown into the sun, and Virginia Tech isn't quite sure where they're landing either. So I don't think anyone ends up happy in this game.
I'm going to enjoy this game tremendously.
I can't imagine why.
No idea why you love this game. It's
yeah.
just a bunch of schadenfreude here.
Yeah, this is going to be delightful, especially if Brent Pry manages to get Neil Brown fired. No offense to the WVU contingent of our listeners. One of you in particular, you're great. I'm sorry, but also I'm really going to enjoy this.
Yeah. Hi, Beth. I know you're driving probably to class right now, or driving back from class when you listen to this. Yeah. If we get Neil Brown fired, I think you'll be okay with it. I don't think anyone. Actually, I think like all our WVU listeners are going to be fine if Neil Brown gets fired with this game.
that buyout is huge, but
It is.
It goes down on January 1?
No, that's the Georgia Tech one.
Oh, that's right. Damn.
That's right. Getting all these buyouts confused because the coaching carousel has already started, and we're just in week 4.
This is the Black Diamond Trophy. They say it's for Cole because it's like the Cole thing. But I'm not a skier, but honestly, when I think Black Diamond, I think of skiing. I don't think the West Virginia, Virginia Tech fan bases do a lot of skiing. I don't know. Making assumptions.
I mean, is there like ski resorts in the Appalachian Mountains?
Yes,
I
there
think
are
there's some.
Yeah, there are some.
There are some. The ones that I can think of off the top of my head are in Western Maryland and in parts of Pennsylvania, not in West Virginia, but I'm sure there are some in West Virginia as well. So, but as the Appalachian adjacent person in the chat,
Sure.
this is very much a Cole thing, 100%.
Cole. So it's not Black Diamond skiing, stupid sexy Flanders, anything like that. Okay.
Going on from there, another ACC classic that isn't a rivalry, but feels like it should be one. Virginia and Syracuse.
This is one of those, like, if this was on the basketball court, can you imagine, like, the Virginia defense versus the Syracuse 2-3 zone? Nobody would score. But I have a feeling in this game it's going to be the complete opposite, I think. There may be a lot of scoring here.
When I type into Google Virginia-Syracuse without football, it immediately brings up the last basketball scores.
All right, who won? I figured it's one of those, and then they're orange and blue, the same colors. I mean, same conference. I'm interested again, and we still have that question that nobody can really answer. Is Syracuse good?
But this game isn't going to answer it either.
It won't answer it. So if they lose, maybe, I don't know.
No,
maybe it's
weird. I don't think so either. Because again, like, you know, we're at that point in the season where the transitive wins have gotten really bizarre. Like, they were bad and they gotten worse because ODU dropped one to Virginia last week, and ODU beat Virginia Tech. And so the chain just gets weirder and weirder as it goes around. And now we're at the point where now this is in the Dome.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia's traveling to Syracuse. So the Dome is a rough place to play. We all know that. It gets loud in the Carrier. No, not the Carrier Dome, whatever it's called.
It's the Carrier Dome. No,
it's pronounced Carrier Dome.
It's
pronounced Carrier
Dome.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. It's not Heinz Field. It's Forbes Field.
Exactly right.
No.
It's Pitt Stadium, actually.
Pitt Stadium. That's right.
Yeah.
One thing worth pointing out about Virginia-Syracuse, though, is that they've actually only played 5 times because despite being in the same conference, they are in opposite divisions. So this is just like generally weird. I was trying to think if I remember the last time Syracuse played Virginia. Off the top of my head, I don't. I know that it has to have been since 2013 because Pitt has gotten all the way around the conference in that amount of time, which means that Virginia and Syracuse have to have also.
2015. 2015 was the last time they played.
I believe you.
They played in 75, 77, 2004, 2005, 2015.
Cool.
Big conferences are so weird. God. Just use pods.
We're switching to pods. The ACC is switching to pods.
Yes, you are.
This is the last year for coastal chaos. So
that's, you know, we'll pour one out for the coastal, but at least y'all will see other teams more than. Now, you guys want to talk about an irksome game. This isn't Texas's biggest rival. This isn't like their second biggest rival, but this is the game that they absolutely dread. Texas is going to Lubbock to play Texas Tech. Texas leads the series 54-17. And the way Texas fans talk about this game, you would think they have lost every time. They hate this game so much.
Well, I mean, ever since the Crabtree catch, they have just despised this game. Ever since that one, they've hated it. And I'm sure since that point, it's been relatively even, I would say. Before that, Texas Tech wasn't always that great. But since that Crabtree catch with 1 second left against the Colt McCoy Texas Longhorns, that's the anxiety there. And because it's always been close. Like, Texas hasn't been back. I said it. But it's on our side. No, but it's just one of those that it's just nobody really likes going to Lubbock.
It is the most geographically isolated school in the Power Five. Like, it's just several hundred miles from anywhere, from what I hear. Which
it is, and the drive there, not beautiful. Not gonna lie to you, it's kind of just nothing.
There's nothing out there, nothing. I think you remember the George Strait song, like Amarillo by Morning, where he drives from like San Antonio to Amarillo which, Lubbock is essentially on the way. I've made that drive. There is nothing there. Every time I hear that song, I'm just like, oh my God, like this drive is brutal. And he would have been doing this in like the early 90s with like, there definitely wouldn't have been any radio stations out there whatsoever. I think the closest like football program to Lubbock is actually in Albuquerque with New Mexico, I believe. They may actually be closer to Dallas though, or TCU. I think TCU is slightly closer by a few miles. But yeah, they're in the middle of nowhere. There's really nothing around Lubbock. You can go to Amarillo and get like a 72-ounce steak challenge. You could do one of those there and see like the Cadillac Ranch where
But it's not just the steak though. You got to eat the roll. You got to eat their shrimp cocktail. You got to eat the salad. There's other parts that make it difficult.
That's right. I couldn't do it.
This is the battle for the Chancellor's Spurs. So that's a thing. Today on Twitter, we saw that some tech alums had given $11 million, I think it was, to tech because they'd sold out this game. And I figured out that was worth, if you were buying Mission tortillas at Walmart, let's say, that's about 42 million tortillas that you could buy to throw this game. And then it became this whole thing about like what's more ballistically sound, flour or corn. They use flour, apparently, I was told many times. They put a hole in the middle of them because they think that makes them more aerodynamic. I'm not sure. What it has made me want to do is I may go to Walmart tomorrow, buy a couple tortillas, packs of tortillas, and test this. I'll go to the park and just sort of like launch them. The scientific method requires experimentation, requires repetition.
All right, I want video of this.
Oh, it will be. There'll be video.
Of you. So they poke, like they put like a little, like, I guess like maybe a quarter size hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also dry them out apparently because you dry them out, you get a little more.
That's right.
Some of them drape them over frisbees, so you get the curve too.
Oh man,
yeah,
this is serious.
I was gonna say this makes sense because you get it more like one of those like the donut frisbees. Like this all makes sense to me. I'm not a scientist, but I do. Texas Tech has tech in the name for a reason, right? Like I trust the Texas Tech engineers that came up with all this folklore.
They have won. I think one of their big wins was in accounting and wind power. Like they won the wind power championship. And I'm guessing
it's not like there's anything else to do in Lubbock.
I'm guessing
they're judging meat too, right?
Yeah. Oh God. If I forget to mention that, I'm gonna get yelled at again. Yes, they judge meat too.
I saved you. They are really good at meat judging.
I assume they put a tortilla in a wind tunnel and they just check the aerodynamic properties of flour versus corn versus a mitad y mitad.
I wonder if they're good at like disc golf. Like it seemed like if they're good at throwing tortillas, maybe with an actual like frisbee or disc, I think they would be probably good at that too.
Yeah. How is Texas Tech's ultimate frisbee team?
Yeah,
I know that Mizzou won the disc golf contest last year, men's and women's. I remember this.
Oh.
Okay.
Again, God, those graphics will always be burned in my head for like the next year until we replace them for next year.
That's right.
Shout out to WVU's cricket team, the most incongruous winner.
Absolutely. And the more I find out about them, the more I love that team. The more like TikToks and YouTube videos I see of them, the more I love it. They're great.
They're a dynasty.
They're fun people. They're great.
Yes.
Next one. This isn't a rivalry, but I feel like it's going to turn into one. JMU is going to Boone. This is JMU's first year in FBS. They've had a really good year so far. And they're going to App State, who came off the win against A&M and the Miracle on the Mountain 2 against Troy. This game should be fireworks. I'm very excited.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm concerned here is that these kids have gone through like a lot of crazy highs in the first 3 games, like the emotional North Carolina comeback, falling just slightly short, then taking down A&M, and then just winning a game on the last play to defeat like a conference rival.
Yep.
Now you have to face like a former FCS foe that you used to battle with in the FCS playoffs like many, many years ago. I don't want to, root against it, but I mean, does the magic run out or does it just keep going? Because like Boone is just a special place this year. That's what I'm curious about.
Manifesting good things for the good Mountaineers.
The good Mountaineers. That's right. According to the good.
Oh God.
We love you, Beth.
It was again for one person who I know is listening to this podcast, sitting in her car driving in the dark, just cursing out loud,
shaking fist angrily.
Oh yeah.
We did because we care.
Hey Beth, both hands on the wheel, Beth. Both hands on the wheel. I really think it was interesting because Parker at Stats of War put up his preview for this. And I asked him because JMU's numbers look better than App State's. Like they are higher up in a lot of categories than App State. But he had App State predicted to win by a pretty good margin. And it's because the original numbers weren't adjusted for opponent. So JMU is having a great year against opponents that aren't as good as what App State has played. So extrapolating out, it looks like App State should win this, not handily, but it should be, again, a good game. JMU has a lot to prove here. App State is still trying to like ride high on this wave, like you said. It should be a great game. And I think they've relegated this thing to ESPN Plus, which is
I'm always watching ESPN Plus. It doesn't matter.
Same.
Wherever you put it, I don't care. I'm finding it. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I probably watch ESPN Plus way too much.
It is on ESPN Plus. I just checked. Friend of the pod, LSUfootball.net.
God bless. Come on, ESPN. Just put it on the 2 or something. The next game is another irksome game, not the main rival, but a game that always makes everyone feel worse coming out of it. Texas A&M and Arkansas, but not in College Station, not in Fayetteville. We're in Arlington, Texas, baby.
I hate this game so much on principle. Like, solely because it's at Jerryworld, because Jerry wants it to be at Jerryworld. Literally nobody wants this except for Jerry. Play this game on campus. Thank you.
It's crazy that even as, like, because they were playing this game here before they became conference foes. I thought once they became conference, this would run out. The inertia to put this stupid game, not the game is not stupid, my apologies, to put this game at this stupid location just angers me.
It's a waste. It's not a historic neutral site. It's not the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. It's not Red River. It's not Army Navy. What are we doing here?
Making Jerry money.
We're doing Jerry's bidding. That's what we're doing here.
It's Jerry's world, and we all just live in it.
Just like there are websites that will tell you what time mass is at whatever local church where you are. There are websites that'll tell you if you're Muslim, when to pray, what direction to pray in. I assume there's a website somewhere that will tell you when blaring sunlight will come in that stupid window at Jerryworld. So you know that if you're in that stadium from like a couple hours in the afternoon, you're not going to be able to see anything. It's a stupid stadium.
The team that's going that one direction. Apparently, there's supposedly drapes that can block the sun, but they never use them.
Yeah.
That's what somebody said in our mentions. I don't know if it's accurate, but everything on the internet is correct.
It feels real to me.
It feels like that there's just drapes, and Jerry doesn't want the drapes because he's got to let the sun in. I don't know.
I'm just picturing like household curtains, but scaled up so large.
Yep. Just like they're ruched at the top.
Yes.
Yeah. They've got the little bit of ruching. They're nice.
Yes.
Good fabric. You went to Joann's. You got the good fabric. Had them done. Needed lots of fabric because a couple 100 feet probably.
It's a big window.
Play this game someplace else for the love of God. This is a game where A&M usually wins, but in a way that makes them feel very bad about themselves.
Gig 'em.
I got nothing else to say. I don't see this being any different this year.
I have no opinions on like what the potential outcome of this game is, because if we had been talking about this game 2 weeks ago, I would have said that I was like reasonably confident Arkansas would win, but then Arkansas almost lost to an FCS team last week, so I genuinely do not know.
Look, when your ex shows up, you do weird things. You start acting weird. You start trying to you go too hard, whatever. That's what happens. And by the end, Arkansas found themselves. They looked over at their coach. They're like, you know what? This is the man I'm with right now. And I'm happy with this man. I don't need my ex. He's flashy. He's got the motorcycle. But I don't need him. I like my good old pig dad. He's my man.
Okay. I got nothing to say after that.
This next one also feels like a rivalry that should exist. There's no trophy or anything, but just emotionally, this feels like a rivalry. Southern Miss at Tulane. This feels like two Southern schools pretty close by. They played every year from 79 to 2010 until Tulane left the conference that they were in. And
Hattiesburg and New Orleans really maybe like 2.5 hours away. My sister's a Southern Miss alum, so we used to go to these games all the time. And this should be kind of interesting. Southern Miss basically owns the series relatively because in that time, 79 to 2010, I mean, Tulane was really not very good. and really they struggled to win. And Southern Miss was one of the top, like, group of 5 teams in that time frame. So Tulane's projected to win this game. However, Southern Miss head coach Will Hall is the former offensive coordinator of Tulane from I believe 2 years back. So this should be a little bit interesting. It'll be a homecoming. There wasn't like any like hard feelings when he left. As far as I know, he left Tulane to get his own head coaching job there at Southern Miss. So it should be a fun game. I hope Tulane doesn't have a letdown after that big win and knocking off Kansas State last week.
Was this the year of 3 head coaches at Southern Miss when he got that job?
No.
Was that the year when Southern Miss went through like 3 head coaches?
It was after all of that.
That's right.
So like there was 3 interims or whatever.
It was the COVID year, I think, where like the first guy was there, got fired. Second guy the interim was there, and then he left to go to Austin P like a week later. And then they hired. No,
they didn't hire him after the season. They had another interim, so they had 3 total coaches, and then he came in after that.
For fans of Roman history, this is very much like the year of the 4 emperors. So very very similar, except in Hattiesburg, same thing, really. I asked this question today on Twitter because I wasn't sure about it. Florida Tennessee is happening this week, and I was like, is there a trophy or a name with this thing? And I Googled it, and it came up as the 3rd Saturday in September. Now, I know for a fact, I'm not quite old enough to be cognizant of when the Alabama game was always played in the 3rd Saturday of October. I know that was like a thing, but that's the name of that game.
It is still played on the 3rd Saturday of October.
It usually is. It wiggles occasionally, but it's close. I have never heard of 3rd Saturday in September.
Yeah, and that's not a thing.
The only thing people were saying was like, well, it was in the NCAA
That's
NCAA games.
That's the only thing that I could see. It was in the NCAA football games, and that's what they called it. But it always takes place on this day. It's always the 3rd Saturday in September. I don't necessarily know if it's an official rivalry game. I mean, like rivalry named game. Yeah. I know Florida and Tennessee hate each other, but there's other rivals, of course. That other teams hate slightly more, but they just don't like each other. And it's one of those point of pride games for Florida to win, but it's always madness. I feel both fan bases kind of dread this game, and both go in negative. Like, oh, no matter how we're going into this game, for some odd reason, the other team is just going to win this game. So both fans hate this game so much because they all think the worst is going to happen to their team, and a lot of the time it does.
Yeah, I really enjoy this game because it's not an anxiety bowl in the way that Stephen Godfrey means it. It's like a creeping dread bowl, right? No matter what, Tennessee, like the '98 Vols could be back, and Tennessee fans would be convinced that they were going to lose this game. And the same thing, like the mid-aughts Florida teams could be back, and Florida would be convinced that they were going to lose this game. 10 out of 10, no notes. As a neutral, delightful.
This is the one that Steve Spurrier always used to have, like he'd put on his true hating ass Spurrier hat. It was his favorite. You can't spell citrus without UT.
Without UT, that's right.
Right. So Spurrier was always shooting fire at this one.
He's still like needles Peyton Manning with this one. Like, you never beat Florida. Like Peyton Manning, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Like how many time NFL MVP, never beat Florida, and Spurrier just keeps prodding.
Doesn't matter. That's why I would do the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, that's it. It's just irking you. That's it. They're irking you.
I'm also I just put this in the show notes. I'm declaring this next game a rivalry. Vandy Alabama week. Vandy is on fire right now. And if they've got a chance to take down the Titans, it is this time.
I want to say I believe, but I really don't. Vandy, I love you. I believe in you, but only so much.
So I believe Parker's projections. So Parker's projections, ULM versus Vandy, that ULM had a 0.03% chance to beat Bama.
This week, zero.
That's right. This week it's 0.09 for Vandy.
Okay.
So let's triple zero.
Triple the chance. That's right, Vandy. You have triple the chance of ULM to beat Bama, according to these statistics.
What does he have the spread listed as?
I think it's 49 to 2.
Ouch.
I think.
Yeah. Okay. I the actual spread I'm seeing as 40.5.
Yeah.
You know what? We're not a betting show. Don't take betting advice from me. I think Vandy covers that. I would take Vandy to cover 40.5 against Alabama. I'm feeling that. Anchor of Gold, if you're listening, this is me on your side, okay?
I have to say it every podcast. The vaunted Vandy offense.
Yes. If you look at was it Parker who put it out, or was it CFB numbers? I can't remember. Did an EPA did like a defensive EPA versus offensive EPA? Vandy is not in their usual spot in the bottom, like the bad quadrant. Vandy is slightly in the like all gas no brakes quadrant. This is a better team.
Love all grass no brakes, Vandy.
Yes.
Never mind. I have hope. Go Vandy.
It'd be fun if it's like a shootout. That'd be great. Like 49 to like 21 or 28 or something.
That is a shootout. That is honestly got a shootout for Alabama. Yeah.
Nick Saban would be furious. He'd get a lot of film to watch. But I'd love to see Vandy put up like 28 points or something. That'd be great.
I'm going to declare this next one a rivalry as well, because last year these two teams played twice.
That's right.
New Mexico State and Hawaii. Last year they played 2 times, once at the island, once in Las Cruces. By the way, you can do that. Like, a lot of people were surprised by that. No, that's a thing you can totally do. There are no rules against that. Teams don't usually do it, but you totally can.
There's no rules against a horse playing football.
This game is going to be on Flow Sports. And also, this is going to give us a pretty good data point, I feel, about the bottom of FBS. There has been, I've been caught up in a couple conversations, and they always loop us in because we watch teams that are not great sometimes, about who's the bottom of FBS. And I keep bringing up like FIU as a team that I think is really hurting this year. And a lot of people think Hawaii is it. I don't think so. And I think this game will prove it. I think Hawaii wins this in Las Cruces.
It's going to be a good one. Honestly, I think they're 2 relatively evenly matched teams. Hawaii has still not thrown a touchdown pass all year.
Oh, God, is that true?
That is true.
Uh-oh.
Enjoy that note. I
feel all of a sudden a lot worse about my prediction.
Ooh, okay. I just wanted to say that. I'm glad you made your prediction before that note. So, yeah, definitely. I feel like it's going to be a great game. We love these games when, they're the bottom of FBS, but they're 2 evenly matched teams. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be fantastic. This is what the committee is about. Like, we want to promote games where, hey, it's going to be a great game. Throw out the records. Who cares? You want to watch some entertaining football? Yeah, it may be bad. These teams are evenly matched. I want to see if Hawaii can get their first FBS win since they beat the Dukes last week. Shout out to the Dukes backup punter. I just want to say that I did post his 14-yard punt. I mean, when you get a backup punter for an FCS team, it's never really a good sign because their punter got hurt in the game. But shout out to the backup punter.
With the ref cowering.
Yes,
trying to cover
that's
his
right.
head.
It was great. It was a 14-yard punt. He's like 5'9", 200, whatever. You got to punt. You in Hawaii. So unexpectedly, but you did that. You could always take that for the rest of your life. Hey, I had a punt in Hawaii once. So
Duquesne got to go to Hawaii. So, like, who's the real winner here?
They got paid to go to Hawaii. Hawaii paid them. Hawaii paid them, I think, $215,000 to go out there.
It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to like
a vacation.
It wasn't Kent State ride to hell money, but it was good.
Duquesne stay winning.
UMass and Temple is a game that's happening this week.
Oh yeah.
This is another good data point about the bottom of FBS.
You know what? It really is. See, last week I thought Rutgers was going to just like smack around Temple, and they didn't, which tells me Temple may be a better team than I think they are. Because that also made me that Duke is actually way better than I think they are. That's a scary thought. We're back to this thing of like Duke may be good, and that's just emotionally something we're all going to have to deal with eventually.
They showed signs of life against Rutgers. I think they should handle UMass. UMass did beat Stony Brook last week to get their first win in the second coming of Don Brown, right?
The Seawolves.
Oh, the Seawolves. That's right. I thought you said She-Wolf out of that Shakira song for a second. But, look out, there's one in your closet. I'm sorry. I'm recording in the closet again. So it's just open up and let her breathe. I'm gonna stop. All right. But no, one fun thing about Temple, I didn't realize that Kurt Warner's son is Temple's quarterback.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner's son is Temple's quarterback. I found that out this week. That was very interesting. I had no idea. And then like somebody sent me a picture of like Kurt Warner and I forgot his wife's name. With the short hair. I forgot her name. Yeah, just blanking. But they're there, and he's like, they're doing the in front of the Temple background. So it's interesting to know. I mean, Kurt Warner's son is the quarterback at Temple. I think they should beat UMass pretty well. I don't know how well the offense will go, but I think Temple should relatively handle this. But this is one of those like yikes if you're watching it games, and that's where we live. That's where we like to hide and we like to watch these games.
There'll be something weird in this game, I guarantee.
I briefly considered going to this game, but
Ooh.
I actually have a Temple alum friend and a Wisconsin fan friend who's going to be in town, suggested attending this game to them, and we are electing not to go because the ticket price is a little too rich for our blood. So
Wait. How much is a Temple UMass game going for here?
I was told that the ticket price via our Temple alum friend was $25. It is as low as $9 on StubHub as of today.
There we go. That feels emotionally. That feels more correct.
Yes.
25 is a little like
a little steep for this year's Temple football
for Temple UMass, but $9 on StubHub. Is that with or without fees?
That I think that is the like quoted fee. So I assume or quoted cost. So I assume that is without fees. With fees, you're probably looking at 25. So
I wonder if you could just show up to the stadium because they're playing in Lincoln Field, and there's no way that that's sold out. That like people would just hand you tickets to go in.
It is absolutely not sold out. Having attended a Temple game when they are less bad, it is very much not sold out at the link.
Philly guy just handing you a cheesecake. Here's a cheesecake and some
Temple tickets put inside of it.
That's right.
Everyone knows.
Go to Geno's. That's right. I'm sorry.
Look, hey, Penn runs that town. I've been very clear on this podcast that Penn is the best team in that city.
I will fight for the Drexel Dragons. I will fight for those Drexel Dragons.
Nope. Go Quakers. Fighting Quakers. Oh. This next one is a game day that was stolen from us. Duke is going to Kansas. Battle of the undefeateds. Battle of the surprise undefeateds. This feels like a college basketball game day. At least I'm told that. Again, my interest in college basketball shows up like February-ish, but I appreciate people who start their religion mid-football. I just can't do that many things at once. This game should be a lot of fun. I don't think anyone thought that.
Before the season, you're thinking both of them are 0-3 coming into this game. Now they're both 3-0. So it's very Sickos in a good way. I'll say that. So, you hear Sickos, you think it's automatically negative because the word sick is in that. But no, this is just like you want to be the Sickos guy just watching Duke at Kansas. Like, yes, like Duke at Kansas, both undefeated. Come on, game day. We all tried. I mean, every like college football account, like Reddit, I think the No Context guys, I mean, everybody's like, go to Lawrence for this one. And this was the one, like, again, if we had a Sickos game day show that we could travel or somebody would pay us, we'd definitely do that. Again, we'd be out there, just celebrating with the Kansas football fans.
On the bright side, this game is the big noon Saturday game of the week. So.
Oh, is it?
Oh, wait, no, great. It's not. I'm sorry. It's on FS1.
I lied. Oh, no.
Hey, whatever.
Michigan is the big noon Saturday game. This is garbage. Everyone hates fun.
Oh my God. We all hate fun.
Somebody sponsor us. Flow Sports will travel. Team One Sports app. I doubt you have the money.
There we go. We will happily be the Flow Sports version of College Game Day.
Yes, we could do it. We'll do it. Flow Sports. We need to lower that monthly price. Like $20 a month is a little bit too much. Maybe
we'll charge everyone $10 to come and stand behind us. The Flow Sports model.
Okay, got it.
I don't have anything to say about Arizona at Cal except Arizona Oskies coming for you. The Oskies are coming for you.
Oh no, not again. Are you going to generate more?
Of course I am. The multiverse of Oskies coming for you. Iowa and Rutgers should be a rivalry this year.
Yes.
This is the battle of the Aussie punters, and I am so hyped for this. It's in Piscataway under the lights.
Under the lights in Piscataway. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be great. It's going to be just punts. It's going to be, I think Parker had this at like a 23-point total game, maybe. So
it was 19-10, I see. And so the original over-under was, I think, 35.5, and I think it's dropped down to like 32.5.
That's been moved. That
so like all the bettors were like, 35.5. There's no way. Everybody's taking the under, and then Vegas had to shrink it down. We had the graphic. I think I forgot the name of the person that made the graphic, but that was fantastic. I think it was an actual graphic design person where it's like the two punters and it said get Punterstruck, and I immediately went to the song, the AC/DC song Punterstruck, and then somebody actually wrote lyrics to it, and like I was just like he just like punter, and it's punter, and I'm like yes, I was born. No, I'm gonna stop. I can't
Beautiful.
even sing that. And just like. And like he had like lyrics is like my drive stalled. And I'm like, it's just like I can't sing this at all. And just him actually writing the lyrics, I think it was at Hey Jonesy, definitely just beautiful work on writing the version of Thunderstruck for Punterstruck. So maybe we have to get some video of punts from this game and play Thunderstruck behind it.
I'll do that.
Along with the Kansas at Duke. Somebody suggested the Kansas at Duke highlights of football, but we put the round ball rock behind it.
Yep, we got that too.
Da, 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 da. And then da, 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 ba, 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 basketball. Like the SNL skit.
Moment.
One shining moment. That'll work.
Now, guys, we're going to get into some heavy analysis here. The Rhode Island Rams are heading to Pitt. Take on the Pitt Panthers. The Rhode Island Rams, of course, are under their 9th season under Coach Jim Fleming. Jim Fleming there is 25-58 at the Rams, having a rough time in his 9th season, but Rhode Island's willing to give people a long leash, do their work there in Providence. Let me double check that's in Providence.
I believe so.
I think there's only one city in Rhode Island. It's probably whatever. It's probably Providence. It's fine.
Ooh.
What do I know about the Rams? Well, the Rams' colors are Keene blue, navy blue, and white. And their mascot is named Rhodey the Ram. So Rhodey the Ram and his Ramily, hashtag not that Ramily, is
not
heading
Fordham, no.
Not Fordham, is heading to Pittsburgh. No. Pitt Girl, how you feeling about that?
It is, it's an FCS team. But I'm a Pitt fan, so I can't actually casually say that because that has happened. Shout out to Youngstown State. But seriously, the main topic of discussion in Sickos Committee Light for this game is that Nate Yarnell, starting quarterback last week, third stringer for Pitt, helped win the game against Western Michigan, and is the ACC Rookie of the Week. I found out actually after that game or during that game that he had not seen any live game snaps since he was a junior in high school. But the best part is why. And he didn't play as a senior because he broke his thumb. He got in a fight with a linebacker. And the actual quote is Pat Narduzzi on Nate Yarnell's injury from senior year of high school. Quote, got in a fight with a linebacker and broke his thumb. So he's got leadership qualities. He didn't crumble. He wasn't nervous. He fights linebackers. He looks nice and mild-mannered, but he's angry inside. 10 out of 10, future Heisman winner. Right here. You heard it here first.
So Pitt. So gritty.
Yes.
A gritty boy.
Lunch pail, the whole thing. Yep.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Go Pitt.
If I could get in the mind of Narduzzi, I don't want to get trapped there like one of those
do that.
movies.
Don't do that.
No, I'd probably get trapped. Never mind. I take it back. I don't want to get in Narduzzi's mind. No,
it's gonna be a being John Malkovich this.
Worth noting also that Pat Narduzzi played for Rhode Island, so that is probably why Rhode Island got scheduled. Yes,
it's a hate game.
Is he gonna throw the game?
Giving it up for his alma mater.
What's the spread? We're gonna take the Rhode Island Rams, and there's other cities in Rhode Island. How dare you not know Warwick, Rhode Island? How dare you?
There's Newport too. I just thought of more.
How dare you not know North Providence?
In the interest of full disclosure, Rhode Island is in Kingston, Rhode Island, which I have never heard of.
You want to talk about a game that's going to get lost, and a game that actually is our favorite kind that we just talked about earlier, MAC versus Mountain West. Michigan State. Oh my God. I'm going to get people so mad at me.
Did they get demoted to the MAC?
Gonna trim the shit out of that one.
No, you're keeping that. Come on, you're keeping it. We got to love the mistake. Michigan State, the MAC team, they got demoted last week after Washington beat them pretty handily.
All complaints please be directed to @BigGameBoomer.
Yep, @BigGameBoomer. That's our complaint account.
Okay, definitely do it.
Western Michigan, clearly what I meant.
There we
Western Michigan. I was also going to casually say what city they're in, but I'm so afraid of being wrong now that I'm like,
no, Pitt was just there.
Kalamazoo as our are
I was gonna say, I was gonna be like, oh, that's an Ypsilanti. Clearly, that would just.
That's Eastern.
I was gonna make everyone angry. Dear
That's right.
God.
and I would have said no, it's in Mountain Pleasant, but
Yeah, Western's going to San Jose State. This is the stadium that still has only half a stadium because they're under construction. It's a late game. This should be a lot of fun, but it's gonna get lost. We'll watch it.
it's going to be on CBS SN Sports
Oh.
Network, so we'll get the CBS music for this, which is great. We'll get it. Like, they'll go to commercial and it'll be like ridiculous CBS music, which, I mean, we love that, of course. This is the one where I think their construction is not going to be completed until the beginning of 2023, the football season. So it's still under construction, and we will still, if we see any photos where there's like construction equipment there, we'll wonder if any of the construction people actually like hide out in their equipment just so they can catch the game.
We should keep an eye out for that at Oregon State too.
They're under construction, not nearly as bad as San Jose State is.
Well,
but yeah,
we may not be able to watch Oregon State because it's on the Pac-12 network. But again,
how do you take your best teams and bury them on a station that I have to turn my VPN on? It's like I'm trying to watch like Eurovision again. I have to turn on my VPN, pretend that I'm like in Albania to watch the Pac-12 network. Jesus,
you use
Christ.
Albania?
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
I always choose this like
weird Eastern Bloc country.
I'm gonna piss off our Albanian listeners now. I gotta double check if we have any.
Well, I mean, the Swedes that listen to us and
Finns. We got tons of Finns
too. Finns,
tons of
Swedes. Some Dutch folks. Korfball, of course.
Korfball.
Yes, we said it.
I always pick some Eastern European country. It feels more aligned with what I'm doing. So I pick some Eastern European country, and then like, yeah, I'm a dude from Bosnia, and I'm watching Oregon State football, just so that someone at the Pac-12 network is going to look at their stats and be like, the hell is happening here, boss? We gotta do more Balkan content. The Pac-12 needs more Balkan stories. We got Balkan lists. We got people at the Balkans just watching this like crazy. The last one we're gonna preview, if you could call it a preview, Miami of Ohio, the UOH, is going to Northwestern. Can Northwestern win a game in the U.S. this year? It's not a trophy game, so I say no.
Well, the Redhawks fought pretty hard with Cincy when they were playing in the Bengals stadium for some reason. I still don't know why that happened.
But that's also, that's a deep cut rivalry. This is
that is an actual rivalry.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Northwestern just lost to an FCS team. There's no trophy at stake for Patty Fitzgerald. Can the Redhawks do it and make Northwestern 1-3? That'll be. If somebody was saying Pat Fitzgerald's on the hot seat, I'm like, there's no way this dude is on the hot seat. Like he's coach for life. Like he's only 47. They're not firing him until he retires when he's 73.
Yeah, he's Kirk Ferentz 2.0 in some ways.
We want to talk about a couple more things. The Big Ten coaches video that released today. That was weird.
That was very strange. It was a video where the Big Ten coaches had to pick a celebrity to play them in a movie. And so there was some interesting answers. Brett Bielema said that he wanted Kevin Costner, even though he did admit that he's probably past that now. Patty Fitzgerald, of course, he wanted Tom Cruise. Jim Harbaugh wanted Brad Pitt, along with the Purdue coach, Jeff Brom. Mel Tucker wanted Denzel. And then you get to the end of the video, it's Wisconsin head coach Paul Christ or whatever. I can't even say it right. I know he's former Pitt coach, so I said it wrong. He just looks at the camera. He's like, they would never make a movie about me. And I'm like, that is so. I felt so bad. I'm like, come on, Paul. We love you.
He's right.
That's
right.
That's such
a generic man.
Yeah.
So I saw a suggestion from Mike Golick Jr. on Twitter, and he said Kevin James as Paul Christ.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Actually, Kevin James is Burt Bielema. I'm just saying.
Oh,
like get Kevin back in like his Paul Blart form.
Oh yes,
and I'm feeling like that's gonna work with me. Or Kevin James in his Sean Payton form in that god awful movie that I actually watched on Netflix.
I still haven't seen it. I can't do
asshole,
it.
You have to watch.
I'm a Saints fan. I am not watching that shit. I am not watching that shit. I am not doing it.
They all throw up together. It's hilarious.
No, I can't. Again, you with the puke and like the puke 6.
That is true. Yeah.
And I'm not like puke humor, vomit. I am like, all right, I can't do it. I don't know what it is. Like, I get that over empathetic, like you're throwing up, and I'm like, I kind of want to throw up too, because apparently.
Now,
But,
what I want from this, though, is I want an Avengers type team up movie with all of these actors that they chose playing them. But that means Brad Pitt has to pull double duty, and we'll green screen it, where
okay.
Brad Pitt is both Jim Harbaugh and Jeff Brom in the same scene. There was a coach that was missing.
Yes.
Who might be missing from a Big Ten video?
I wonder who that could possibly be.
Show us the Scott Frost cut. We know it's there. You recorded this months ago.
Yep.
Show us the Scott Frost cut. You cowards. We're not going to steal this from, well, we got this story from The Athletic, and I forget who broke it at The Athletic. But in all of Herm Edwards getting fired at Arizona State, we may have ourselves WikiLeaks Part 2. There has been allegations that staffers were leaking game plans to opponents to get Herm fired sooner. Jordan B. on the Moon Crew Discord has labeled this scandal Sparky Notes.
That's beautiful. That's
which is
high quality.
Absolutely beautiful.
When I tried to type it into the show notes doc, it automatically wanted to autocorrect to Spark Notes. But no, it's Sparky Notes for sure.
This scandal will overtake. So this is going to be so big. It's going to overtake, just like how WikiLeaks overtook everything.
Should be interesting. It's a rumor now. It may get a little bit more play, but that's kind of crazy that they wanted him to go, and they were just like, here, this is what they're going to try to do. I don't know. That's kind of a little mutiny on Herm's hands there, I guess, so to speak.
Like, a lot of our ASU folks who are adjacent to us had told us that, like, things were starting to get, there was like the violations for like COVID visiting, like back in 2020, and like it had started to sort of like rot from inside. And I don't think Awen knew how bad it was, really. We could have guessed, but we're not, we are sports media adjacent at best.
Yes, at best.
At best. So we didn't know like how bad it was, and then all of a sudden I think it's going to come out more and more that like fingers crossed, not like anything serious allegations or whatever, but like just like the whole program was just rotting from the inside.
Did anything ever come of all the theorization that like the AD was on the field talking to him like he was getting fired, like literally tarmacked, but like on the field? Because there was a lot of that floating around on Sunday as well, because there's a video of like him standing there talking to the AD immediately after the game.
I didn't see that. Ooh.
Yeah. There's a video after, and I think Godfrey, and then on the account, like we wanted one of those John Boy breakdowns.
Yeah.
To see if they could read the lips. I tried to read the lips myself. I mean, the only thing that I really could read well is the Syracuse girl going, "That's so fucking stupid." But and then the other guy going, "Woo!" But Woo. No, it seemed like they wanted to go have a talk after this, and I think Herm's first words I could make out from his lips is like, they whipped our butts out there tonight. And then like the hand placement on the back, that's like body language, like are they breaking up? And then I think Herm was like, okay, let's go talk about it back here.
Oh god.
So I mean that's what he said at the end. I don't know, I couldn't see there. And then there was like the one guy that was looking down when he gave him a handshake. So I mean, just like the body language expert that you want to read when like somebody's on the stand with like a jury or something like that. We're over analyzing the AD, school president and Herm interaction right at the end of the game. And in the background, you can see the Mac pirate flag just going across the back of the street at the same time. So it's just a great, I don't know. It's fun to watch. You definitely got to check it out, Jordan.
We've all been in that situation with someone who we cared about that said, we need to go talk.
Yeah.
Right. And so they told Herm we need to go talk. And so Herm knew. Herm had that feeling. Hopefully Herm enjoys his retirement or whatever TV show he goes and talks on for a little bit.
I did want to shout out one of our followers, Bradley Belhaver. I'm sorry, I don't know the pronunciation of your name. We tweeted that we were going to renew our Flow Sports account to watch the Hawaii at New Mexico State game. And that was dead serious. Honestly, dead serious.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do that for sure. We're going to watch that. I'm going to watch that game. In this situation, he decided to donate the monthly fee for the Flow Sports account for the Sickos Committee to our Venmo and our Twitter profile. And so that's the first donation that we've ever had to our Sickos Committee Venmo. So we just wanted to shout you out, Bradley.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for that.
Hey, Kamish, are you going to show your feet?
On the, there was a lot of tweets for that. So, I mean, I did say that I would put it on my sick only fans.
There we go.
So
if that's what our account is missing, it's more feet. Just feet in general. We got to branch out. We got to add feet.
I'm gonna have to get a pedicure.
Oklahoma Army streamer
honestly.
Guy, go on Sickos Committee.
Yes.
Join us.
I'm gonna definitely have to get a pedicure if I decide to do that. I'll just put it that way.
Okay, so the last thing we want to talk about, and we'll just do it shortly, is the past couple days I have started posting charts and graphs more so on the account. And the part that has made me very happy is that I'll skip the technical explanation about what I'm doing, but basically the idea that these are clustering quarterbacks teams or whatever together, but I'm not giving really information about what I'm actually clustering together. And it's driving people insane, and it's making me so happy. It just makes me very happy.
I immediately look and I'm trying to find, like ULM. I'm trying to find other teams. I'm trying to find their quarterbacks. I'm trying to find, who is one. I think Anchor of Gold got the good point cross about the quarterback one. Mm-hmm. He was like red, bad, green, good, blue, yes, haha, yes. Mm-hmm. So that seemed accurate there, but the other data points that you've thrown out there just to drive our Twitter followers crazy. The one that you put out with the teams,
that one was great. That was great.
So many of the followers were like, "Oh my God, I am way too close to Colorado. This is not good. My team is way too close to Colorado, and I don't even know what the data is. I have no idea what the data is. He's not telling me. I don't know." But it's fun to just like look at everybody's reaction. And Parker Stats of War, he's just like, this is the best data I've ever seen. This is great. And
I described it to someone else as like a stew of all these other variables, and I'm just not gonna tell you what I put in it. And so
you're making stats gumbo over here.
I'm making stats gumbo. And the best part is that those are unlabeled. Those axes are labeled with just like component 1, component 2, dimension 1, dimension 2. And so all you see is your team next to other teams. On one of them, the one I posted this evening, A&M is like right next to.
I think A&M was really close to ULM. And
it's A&M, Middle Tennessee, Nevada, Louisiana Monroe, Wyoming Toledo, Houston, Notre Dame, Akron, Boston College, and like just driving people up the wall, and that's amazing. I'm a big believer. I don't make up things. I'm not going to post random lists of like stuff that I feel, not my top 50 greatest game day experiences, whatever. But I will take data. I will use it poorly. I will throw it into a wood chipper, and I will post the results like they matter. I will never say that they matter. I'll be very honest with what I'm doing, that this is bad process. Garbage in, garbage out. Literally garbage in, garbage out.
Is that Gigo instead of LIFO and FIFO?
Exactly. It's garbage in, garbage out. It's literally what it is. But it makes me so happy that it just drives people up the walls, trying to be like, what does this mean? Why are these groups together? Oh my God, why am I in this group? It makes me so happy.
I'm just picturing the followers out there with the red string trying to like ungumbo the gumbo, right? Mm-hmm. Like how do we return to the original data set based off of this visualization?
I'm always happy. I love the college football stat heads. They're people I really look up to. Bill C, of course, is like the one that we all look up to because he was the first one to really bring advanced analytics into college football. And what I'm doing is literally just like fart jokes with data. Like it is the fart jokes version of what he does. So I'm going to keep posting these things and being like, hey, these teams are definitely in the same category. Figure out what that category is, y'all.
You should put like Oski in there somehow.
I will. Pitt Girl, you got anything else for tonight?
It is 11:42 Eastern. No.
Oh, that's right. It's late. Shit, sorry.
She's like, we're so late here. I need to go to bed.
Kamish, you got anything else?
Sickos Committee after dark.
Sickos Committee after dark. That's right. We had a weather delay today. No. Thank you for listening. Whoever's listening to this, we have no idea who listens to this podcast.
I know exactly who listens to this podcast. I have the map.
Yeah.
Hi, Beth.
All right.
Beth.
Hi, Beth, again. That's right. Shout out to my friend Andrew who made me say we were the loudest table. So I appreciate that. We're still mad we didn't win the free pitcher of beer when we clearly were the loudest table at karaoke. I'll just say that.
Clearly.
So, we were. I mean, it was bullshit, and we're still mad about it many years later.
So that was apparently our week 4 preview. We will see you guys after this weekend's over, and we will see what happens this weekend. Thank you so much.